and welcome to Breathe, Move, Rest. Today, we'll begin as we do with breath, do our Dasha Shalana, our joint lubrication, and finally, come all the way down to the floor for a few minutes to restore and to rest. Now, you might notice that I'm actually wearing this funny contraption today in what seems to be pretty much my everyday roundabout town clothes. Why? Because I'm running back and forth to doctor's appointments today. So this Breathe, Move, Rest is meant to fit into my regular day. And what that means is that sometimes I even have to break it up into smaller chunks so that I can do one joint or one intention. Just breathe, just move, just rest, which is also called just pause. So welcome to practice. Find a comfortable standing position, spread your feet, soften your knees, and rest your hands where they're comfortable. If you prefer to sit, please do so. If you need that extra balance of support, be near a wall or bring in a chair. Turn your attention inward and feel your breath. Your breath, and by paying attention to the breath, we bring our mind into the moment. No matter what you have scheduled after this session, what you had scheduled before this session, it'll still be there waiting for you. But for now, all I ask, all I encourage for your intention is to be present, body, mind, and energy to the level of your capacity today. Notice the volume of your breath. Notice the pace of the inhale to the exhale. Begin to lengthen the exhale, just slowing down the evacuation. This creates a bit more of a vacuum of pressure that allows for a deeper, fuller inhale. Receive the inhale. Again, with attention, slowly exhale. The Ujjayi breath is a muscular technique to help slow that evacuation of the breath. And it's fine if you're doing it with intention, might even offer some sound. But if it's happening unintentionally, see if you can soften the throat and still regulate that flow of breath. Now, you may or may not be able to hear this, but the next few rounds, I'm going to use the Ujjayi only on the exhale so that it helps to connect and activate that pelvic floor. My belt is stabilizing what is an over-mobile pelvis, an SI joint injury. So this is to therapeutically help reestablish that foundation of support in my pelvis, which is correlated to the first two energy chakras, the Muladhara chakra, the base chakra, and the Svadhisthana, the creative center chakra, right, the life-giving fourth chakra. Soften on the inhale. Good, release, honey out, control. A little shake, shake, a little rock, roll, please. Breath of joy. We're going to start slow. So breath of joy is a combination of breathing and moving, which is really life itself. So maybe this is just a way to bring some more joy into our day, right? So the inhale comes, arms come forward. Doesn't have to be high, but it could be all the way up. The exhale is small and passive. The second inhale, bring the arms out wide to a Y or a T, and then again, bring the hands down. This time, so it's 1 inhale, 2 inhale, 3 inhale, and then on that last exhale, if you're comfortable, to bow forward and swing the arms all the way back. That takes us right into the next inhale, lifting all the way up. And down on the exhale. Second inhale. All the way down on the exhale. Forward and up in preparation. Core stabilizing as you exhale and release. Good. So we're going to take that pace a little faster. Faster. Swing the arms and don't fold. It's causing you any sense of dizziness or wobbliness, or it just feels too much. Last one. And back up, right into the shoulder circles. Steady the breath. Use your senses to find your way back to home base. Oh, good. From the shoulders, we're going to move into an alternating. Call this my backup dancer move. Right? Shoulder and or hip might be lifting. Elbow and knee might be bending. Elbow might swivel out and around. Bring forward, take around, and down. If there's room to bring it up, great, but at least bring it forward, around, and down. Make the feet a little wider, a little bit more of a zigzag sway through the hips, perhaps. Good, right into empty coat sleeves, feet wide, arms swing to a spinal twist. Just using the centrifugal force, the momentum of your arms swinging loosely, no control, to bring the spine into a rotation. Notice that my back foot lifts the heel. That's to protect the knee. The knee is not designed to rotate. Oh, I can already hear that my breath has changed. Right, a little effort showing up in this movement portion of practice today. Ah. Well done. All right, feet wide. Right, hands to the hips for that extra security or protection. Soft to the knees and a rib tilt towards the hip. Up on the inhale. Exhale. Up on the inhale. We're going to reverse the breath in a moment. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Right, that exhale is where we're going to get that pelvic floor and inner thigh and abdominal core engaged. So now we're going to lift with the exhale and see if we can't really suck everything in to help lift us up. So inhale, side. Exhale, squeeze thighs, lift pelvic floor, draw belly in, rise up. Inhale and exhale. What's different in your body here? Right, so as we lubricate the spine, we're supporting that movement through the foundation of your inner thighs, your abdominal core, and your mind stuff, your attention. Couple more if you'd like. Add a little more reach. I will add also a little more stretch the top side and a little more weight that the body has to navigate in this work of movement. Two more. That's one round. Final round. Your pace might be different than mine, and honor your pace, your breath as your guide. If you're heavy breathing, maybe it's time to slow down. Empty coat sleeves again. Closing my eyes is a nice way to check in, see how I'm feeling. And particularly I am kind of nurturing or protecting my pelvis today. So I may close my eyes a little more today, just as a way to check in, make sure that I'm not straining myself and you. See, that's the challenge as a teacher, right? Is that I demonstrate, but I'm not really fully paying attention to what's happening in me because I'm here to pay attention to what's happening in you, right? So just a little inside scoop behind the scenes. Good. Parallel the feet, wider than the hips, slide the hand down to above the knee. Now you might notice that my bum goes back a little bit, but my back is straight and my elbows are straight. That's going to allow me the support from the arms as I now move into cat and cow. Pelvic tilt, right? Here's the pelvic tilt, right? Thoracic rounding, that's what's happening at the shoulders. And then the cervical tilt or neck tilt here at the head, right? Work them all together or take them one at a time and build that independent mobility and dexterity before combining them. And some of you might have to work from the combination to free them up before you even have access to the isolation. That's okay. Begin where you are and let what happen, happen. That's a little bit of an adaptation of Desikachar's quote of how we practice yoga. There's no reason to try to begin where we're not, right? How do we even begin where we're not? Well, we do it a lot. We pretend we know something that we don't know. Or we pretend we're still our 20-something-year-old self when we're not, right? And we try to move or behave like we were then. Good, I'm gonna take this into a Sherpa, which is a little bit variation. You can join me or stay with what you're doing. Chin and tail reach in opposite direction. And then I'm gonna scoop, reaching the pelvis down and forward, and then ripple like a ribbon. Chin and tail, scoop, and ripple up like a wave, like a ribbon. Increase that pace a little bit. Three, and two. Last one. Good. Stand comfortably, bring your hands maybe to your back side and circle your nose. So notice that for the most part, my ears are staying in line directly above my shoulders. If our head is in front of our shoulders, that's just going to tax. It's going to demand muscular effort from the back body, which we don't need to tax right now. We're warming up. Pause. Let the echo, kind of that residual effect of the movement, kind of like what happens after you roller skate or ice skate, and that momentum still feels like what you're moving even after you take your skates off. Let that movement settle and then reverse it. Well done. All right, head comes to steady. Bring the feet together. Use a wall or a chair for additional balance. You're going to step back with the toenails down. So you can probably see that my foot bends quite a ways, right? Like this. That's just my hypermobility. Don't worry about making your body look like mine. We want your body to find your range of motion. So start to explore how far over and around you can roll your ankle to massage all 5 of your toe bones. And while you're rolling your ankle, you're also starting to roll the thigh bone in the hip socket. Okay, pause and go the other way. Nice. Good. Give a shaky shake and take it to the other side. Now you can continue with that first side and move on to the sequence, but I'm going to alternate. And then if you do this again, you can change the way you want to do the pattern. Moving to the second side allows me to give some ease to my standing hip as I alternate back and forth, building endurance and tolerance for balance. If I'm looking to capitalize on balance that already exists, that's where a longer sequence on one leg standing can really help to challenge that core balance, strength, and endurance. Roll the other way if you haven't. Well done. And set that foot down. Good. Back to the first side. We're going to step out, step back, cross behind you. To the side, behind, and behind you. Notice that my hips are going to twist. That's okay. Soft bend in that standing knee. Don't torque the knee. So a little bend, kind of like a crossover for a performance plie. Right? Let me show you from the front. Right? Side, back, crossover. Side. And your crossover might only get to here. That's okay. Right? Did you count? I forgot to count. 3. If you're already counting, then do maybe 8 to 10. Right? Last one. Shake it out. Do a little hippy wiggle and move right on over to the second side. Side, back, and cross. Soften that standing leg as much as possible. Level and square. I forgot what I was doing. In the hips. Sometimes it's hard for me to talk and to do a coordinated movement, right? So the point here is we're getting a little bit of a mental exercise simply by crossing the foot over that midline, but also by changing the pattern here, by doing multiple things with the landing place in the middle, right? So this is challenging the brain as much as it is challenging the muscular body and the energetic body to endure this length of time. All right, last 2. Doesn't really matter to count, but if it helps you to feel like you're fulfilling an even balance, then count, right? Hamstring contraction. Foot comes behind you on the first side once again, and fold. Right, so this is the third standing exercise, which you could put them in sequence. We've got one more, and then we'll still alternate. I'm going to still alternate. You, later, when you do this exercise again, you can decide if you want to do a longer endurance run through all four of these hip lower leg efforts. Two more. Good, and release. Hip, hip sway. Maybe you're feeling some heat. That's your gluteus medius here that helps to hold you upright when you stand. Second side. Flex. Bringing that foot up towards your buttocks. Doesn't have to go very far. If it only goes here, that's great. Any effort is going to wake up that hamstring. So while we are lubricating the knee, we are warming up, even challenging perhaps that hamstring. Hamstring is the three muscles that make up this group on the back side of the thigh that pull the foot towards the buttocks. Well done. All right, give a lot of roll out the hips, maybe widen the feet, right into some circles. Back and forth, one direction and then the other, whatever feels like it's going to help you loosen up that glute medius. We've got one more standing movement, and that's with the leg long, right? So coming back to leg number one, behind you. And this time we're going to fire up the glutes as well as the hamstrings. So the glutes, what's going to lift that leg. The hamstrings are involved, glutes as well, and release. Lift and release. Now, if you're feeling like you need more balance, use the wall, use a chair. If you're feeling like you want a little more reach, you can actually move opposite and back to same hand. Crossover from leg to arm, same arm as leg. Crossover and same, or any variation here. What we don't want to do is hike or rotate the pelvis, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Oh, I'm pulling. Again, an option, step forward and release that effort. Arms go up and down. Watch my hands, I'm flipping over. This is just to get a little bit of rotation into the wrists. Warming up the wrists and the elbow. Well done. All right, switch the legs. So since this foot is forward, I can just step right up into it, or I can adjust. Ooh, shake out. And second side. Now, remember, I counted for 10, but I use them as a double side. So count for yourself or do until you feel fatigue, right? We don't want to cause you to collapse or lose your stability, your form of integrity. This is it, my friends. This is the last effort for our practice today. And the challenge here is to keep it in that moderate range so that if you wanted to, you could do the same exercise tomorrow without harming yourself, without overdoing it. That's moderate and a wise level of effort to practice. How do I measure moderate? Can I breathe through it? And tomorrow, do I still have gratitude and appreciation for having done this practice? Or am I feeling sore and cranky and uninspired to do it again? or something like it. Step forward. This time hands come upwards, right? Elbows in, and we're just gonna swing open and back. Inhale and exhale. Now, if you're feeling really high in your heart rate, take a few extra breaths, right? If you're feeling like this next little cool down sequence is enough, you're gonna come down to the floor with me. 2 final stretches, and then our rest. Inhale up, feet wide, bend the knees, sink the hips, goddess pose. Inhale, opening to star. Exhale, sink. Maybe coming all the way down to malasana, or squat. Sit on a chair. Bring in a pillow or a block. How many of these help you to ground? Begin to release the muscular effort of our move portion. When you're ready, you're going to catch yourself either from the front or the back. I'm going to catch myself from the back side and lower right on down to my bum, right? From here, supporting my hands behind me, I'm going to swing my knees. Taking the weight off my legs feels good. Figure 4, or pigeon stretch and a twist, will be our final expressions, kind of taking advantage of this heat that we've created and stretching through those dominant muscles. So crossing one ankle over the other leg, ideally above the knee. The bottom leg can be straight or bent. And then closing the distance between that top leg and the chest is going to really bring that into the buttocks. And you might even feel it into the low back, the lumbar and the sacroiliac joint of the pelvis. Good. Just for a gentler variation, again, if your heart rate allows, you could come all the way down to the floor and let gravity do the heavy work of holding your body as it falls towards your torso. Well done. Release and switch. Again, let that sensation dissipate and then trade sides. The more square and level, even your pelvis is, the more this shape is going to target the key action of the external rotators of the buttocks, the top leg buttocks. Right? This is the piriformis, as well as a team of small muscles that help to pivot that thigh bone externally, meaning it turns the knee out and opens the space of the groin, the space between the legs. Well done. Take our final twist. So this could be any variation. I'm just going to let my knees fall to one side, stacking them on a block or a pillow if they don't touch the floor, and then rolling open through the arm. Good. Unwind, bringing the knees back up. Now, if you're still upright, you can do this twist upright or join me on the floor, right? Your choice. I like to stack my hips and my knees so that the spiral is all in my spine. But because we're heavy, we're resting on the floor. If that feels good in your sacrum and your buttocks to have the knees out of alignment, go for it. You're safe because your weight is held by the floor rather than your muscles. And then maybe the real challenge is letting go of all of the muscular work. Well done. I am so very proud of you. As simple as the breathe, move, rest strategy is, it doesn't mean that it's not challenging. So notice for you, if today was a moderately high effort, a moderate or a moderately low, or even this was easy peasy, right? It's okay if it's easy peasy. It's also okay if it's a moderately high effort. Just stay in that moderate range as your challenge day, and then sprinkle in more restorative variations on those days when you're perhaps a little more, I don't know, heavy, fatigued, worn out from life, physically, emotionally, or mentally. That's why we can adapt, wisely adapt from what we know. That's why we start with the breath to give us a chance to check in and clarify our intention to align with the level of effort that is available, the attention. So we let go of the practice of movement and embrace the rest, the pause, the stillness. Each exhale, a little more permission to melt, to release. we're ready to complete your practice, gently bring your attention back to the space, to your body. Bring in some gentle movement, maybe starting with the extremities of the fingers and the toes. And then bending the limbs if they're straight, straightening the limbs if they're bent. Maybe tucking your body in or reaching your body long before rolling over to one side and then pressing yourself up. This is just a kindness to our nervous system, a kindness to our spine, and a wise practice to learn to do before we need it. At some point, we may need that extra kindness to get up and down off the floor. Finding your sit. We close this practice and use it as fertile soil to begin again the practice of living well, of living this strategy of breathe, move, rest on the mat and in the world. Thank you so much for practicing. It's an honor to share this journey with you. May you be well. May you breathe deeply and move freely. Labor lovingly and live vibrantly. Namaste. Thanks so much and have a great day. I hope to see you tomorrow.